Hey there, I'm Ryan Langewisch, and I am the designer of Tasty Humans, and I am the designer of Tasty Humans, here to bring you a full solo playthrough of the game. So this is to give you an overview of how the solo play works. It will also give you a pretty good idea of how the multiplayer game works as well, and some of the kind of thought processes that you go through as you're playing the game. Unbeknownst to you, I'm actually coming off having just done this all the way through once, only to find out that my camera apparently has a setting that only takes up to about a half hour of video before it turns off. So blame my amateur video making skills. So I'm here again. I had a convincing victory that no one will ever get to see, but hopefully I can replicate it here again, and that I can keep an eye out to make sure that I notice when the camera maybe turns off and splice it all together. If you're seeing this now, it means I figured it out, so hopefully it goes well. I'm not going to give a full rules overview here. I actually posted another video giving just the general rules overview for a multiplayer game. I'm going to explain some of the things that are going to be different for a solo play, but I think even if you haven't watched that how to play video, I think this video will make sense. It's pretty intuitive, everything I'll be doing, and I'm going to be talking through all of my thought processes. So I wouldn't worry about needing to watch that first before this one. If you're not familiar, Tasty Humans, you are taking on the role of a fantasy monster that is eating all of the delectable humans' adventures that are coming to try to defeat you. In a solo game, I will not be playing against another monster in my efforts to have the most satisfaction, but rather I'm going to be playing against kind of an artificial opponent that is going to not have its own stomach that is taking in tiles, but rather is going to still eat adventurers and have its own way of scoring at the end of the game. And my goal is to be able to either meet or exceed that AI opponent's score. So, the way this is going to work is rounds are going to look very much like they would in a multiplayer game, where in each round I'm going to be selecting 2 adventurers, and the AI opponent is also going to be selecting 2 adventurers. And then at the end of the round, we're going to go to the leader draft. Unlike in the multiplayer game, regardless of who has the Village King token, so this is going to bounce back and forth between me and the AI player, regardless of who has it, I'm always going to pick first in every round. But the card that I pick is going to dictate what 2 cards my opponent, the AI player, takes. So how that's determined is when I pick any of these 9 adventures from the grid, if I currently have the Village King token, then suppose I took this cleric, my opponent would take both of the cards in the same column. However, if he had the Village King token and I took the cleric, he would take both in the same column. Did I say column for this? This is a row. This is a column. So here it's rows. I just threw that thing all the way across the room. Okay, here we go. So here we got rows. Here we got columns. And so I have a lot of control over what adventures my opponent is going to be taking. Now, why is that important? It's because the way the AI opponent is going to score all of its adventures at the end of the game is in 2 ways. The first way is the shapes that are on each of the cards. It's going to score a point for every tile in that shape. So these ones that have 4 tiles are going to score at 4 points, whereas some of these other ones are only going to score at 2 points. But in addition, and probably the thing I need to keep an eye out for even more, is besides peasants, each of the other class types, so there's 6 class types including peasants. There's, let's see how many we have represented here. We have swordsman, wizards, cleric, captain. The only one we don't see here is an archer. And each of those, at the end of the game, we're going to look at how many the AI opponent has of a type, and it's going to get that many points squared. So if at the end of the game my AI opponent has eaten 3 swordsmen, that's going to be 9 points in addition to all of the shapes that are on all of the cards. So that's something I really need to keep in mind, because I can see what my AI opponent has eaten. So if it's already eaten 2 or 3 swordsmen, I may need to really avoid having any more swordsmen go there, or it's going to be very difficult for me to meet that score. Now, the solo mode can be played on a variety of difficulties. There's basically levels of difficulty that are going to determine how many cards the AI opponent starts with in their stomach. And so I've played this a few times, so I'm actually going to play up on level 4, which is probably a little higher than I would recommend for a first-time player. I think the rulebook, this is the menacing monster level. And what that means is at the beginning of the game, before I do anything else, my AI opponent is going to get to draw 4 cards off of the top of the deck and just put them in its stomach. And this is random, so I'm kind of hoping it doesn't get a bunch of the same type. But this is going to kind of set the stage for what I want to try to keep him from getting more of. So let's see here. We've got a peasant, which is great because the peasant doesn't do the whole squaring thing for type, but it will score the 4 points. Another peasant, and an archer. So that is a fairly favorable draw because none of these are going to deal with squaring, so I can stack all the peasants together. And I'm basically going to be keeping 6 piles over here organized by class type. And specifically, the other 5 that are non-peasant, I'm going to be splaying them in such a way that I can tell how many there currently are. Because I'm going to want to, that's going to play a big part in my decision making on what I want to take. So this is what our AI opponent is starting with in the game. Other than that, game is all set up like it would be for a 2-player game, and for my purposes, it's like it's a 2-player game. I'll go all the way up to the top of the grid like you would with 2 players. And yeah, I am playing as the troll. So I have this troll ability here, which is that I want to stack boot, armor, helmet all in a row vertically. So I'm kind of stacking these little people in my stomach. And every time I can make that pattern somewhere in my stomach, I'm going to get 4 points. In addition to that, I was randomly dealt a unique leader tile at the beginning of the game, and in this case, it was armor in the same row or column. So later, after the first round, I'm going to get to drop this into my stomach, and every armor that by the end of the game that I have in the same row or the same column as this is going to get me 2 points. So you can see that might actually work pretty well with my ability here. If I can make some different stacks for my troll and then get this to cross with the armor there, I could maybe get some overlap in the way that I'm scoring. So, without further ado, the first thing we do is reveal the first set of leader tiles. So what these 3 leader tiles represent is the options that I have at the end of this round. So remember, a round is eating 2, I'm going to eat 2 adventures, and my AI opponent is going to eat 2 adventures based off whatever the first one I eat is, from the same row or from the same column. Then once we have those 2, we're going to compare crowns. So normally in a multiplayer game, it would be whoever has the most crowns on their 2 cards would get to pick first from these leaders, and whoever has the second most would get to pick second. Because I'm doing against the AI opponent who isn't actually selecting leader tiles for its stomach, instead the comparison is going to determine whether it removes some of the options before I get to choose. So if I have 2 more, or even more than that, than what my opponent has. So if I had 2 crowns and it only had 0, then I would get to choose from all of them. I would get my pick of all 3 of them. If, however, I'm either equal to or only 1 over in crowns, then it's going to pluck off the leftmost one, and I'm only going to have these 2 to choose from. And finally, if the AI opponent has more crowns than I do, it plucks off both, and I have no choice but to take the rightmost one, which may or may not be something that I want. And I know these ahead of time, so maybe I decide, ooh, I actually kind of like this one, so I'm not going to worry about crowns, because I'm guaranteed to have access to that. But if I like one of these other ones, I'm going to have to make sure that I'm strategic to have more crowns, or the same amount of crowns as the AI opponent. So I think we are ready to go, and I am going to be selecting first. And so let me see here. I want to be thinking about what ones I'm giving to him that are in the same row, but I also want to work towards my goals here of getting boot, armor, helmet stacked. So I wouldn't mind finding some boots right now, because those are kind of what I'd like to layer in lower down. We've got a couple nice like boot armor things here, but both of them would put something that's not a helmet on top of it, which isn't exactly what I want. Though, the one way I could maybe remedy that is by eating a wizard, which the wizard is the one thing that lets you swap things, move things around in your stomach. You always get to swap two adjacent. So knowing that there's a wizard out there, there may be some interesting opportunities. And that wizard does have an armor helmet on it, which I could stack on top of a boot. Interesting. The other thing I need to be thinking about is I've got all these swordsmen, which means if I pick any ones next to swordsmen, like if I select this wizard, that's going to be 2 damage that I take from those swordsmen, which I'm not super excited about. So I really want something with a boot to start out. I could take this swordsman, but he would get hit by both other swordsmen. This peasant's nice, but the thing that I don't like about it is because I currently have the Village King token, that means the ones in the same row would go to the AI opponent, and I don't love him getting 2 swordsmen right off the bat, which would then, square to 4 points and potentially make it harder for me to avoid giving him swordsmen in the future. So I could maybe take that as my second piece, and maybe I avoid it for now. But there's not a lot of other good boot options that don't get me hurt a lot. Because this would only get me hurt 1. I might go with it anyway. It's a little risky giving him these, but it is only 1 damage. I would be beating him in crowns for sure, because I would get 2 crowns to his 1. And I think it may be the best piece for me. So let's just take this. So because I have the Village King token, he's going to take these 2 cards. Now, I'm putting these right here instead of sorting them into the 6 piles because these 2 cards I need to know for when we get to the draft leaders phase so that I can compare crowns. So they're kind of waiting here until we draft leaders, and then after that I'll sort them into the 6 piles. So that's kind of how the AI portion of the board is going to work. So I got this peasant. I did take 1 damage because there was a swordsman next to it, so I have to drop 1 damage into my stomach first. I think I'm going to throw it in a corner. Damage doesn't inherently hurt my score. It's spaces that can't really help me, but what I want to avoid is 2 or more damage being next to each other because then they start all counting as -1s. So I'm going to shove it in the corner. And then I'm going to get, this has 1 of each type of piece. So I've got, and I think I kind of want to drop it just straight like that, so that way the boot, because I want the boot to be have spaces available above it. I guess alternatively I could go like this, which would get the armor there. I would just have to count on using a wizard to swap that, which is a little tricky. I just don't know if I like that being a requirement that I need to do later. On the other hand, it isn't, there is a wizard there for sure. And actually, now that I took that this row's cleared, the adventurers always walk towards us. So this swordsman's going to walk down. Well, and so is the wizard. So they're going to walk together, and it's still going to get hit by that. But as long as no other damage ones get dealt, the wizard would only be 1 damage now. So maybe we do this. I'm gonna drop it like this, I think. So this is me rotating it this way. And it's going to fall down and everything's going to collapse all the way to the bottom. The shapes never retain their shape. Every tile falls as far as it can. And so what I'm thinking here is that I have a boot armor, and then hopefully I can swap this to get a helmet there. So that's my first card. These are all going to move towards me. I'm going to deal new ones from the deck. Come on, no swordsmen. Yeah, there we go. So that wizard, I'm kind of liking that option. I already have more crowns than my opponent, so I'm going to have my pick of... except I only have 1 more crown. If I want to pick this first one, I need to get at least 2 more crowns. So which of these leader tiles do I like? There's something to be said for... and I guess I didn't explain what these guys are doing. So this one is 4 points for every leader tile in the same row or column. So over the course of the game, I'm going to have the one I start with, the one from this set, and 3 more that'll come out. So getting that early would give me a lot of time to maximize it. This is 2 points for every armor diagonally from it. I already have the one that's 2 points for every armor in the same row or column, so I could maybe get some good synergies there. And this one is 2 points for every boot that is within 2 spaces of it, moving orthogonally. Yeah, because I really like that idea with the wizard, because I would complete my troll stack, and maybe that I can just go with this one, because this one would not be available because I only beat him by 1 crown, and it'll clear that off. But I think I'm going to choose to do that anyway. So I'm going to take this wizard. No cards go to the AI opponent. That's only on the first one I take each round. I'm going to take 1 damage from a swordsman. I don't know. Well, let's think here. I'm going to have to drop in this armor one. So I guess this damage is actually kind of helpful, because I could drop it right on top of it to get it in line with the armor. So it doesn't really matter where I put it, but I'm going to throw it in the corner again. And then I'm taking an armor boot helmet. Armor boot helmet. And I want to drop it so that the helmet is in a situation where I can swap it, because the swap for the wizard is going to happen after I drop in the piece. So I think I'm going to drop it like this. So it's going to be helmet, armor, and a boot up here. And then I'm going to choose to swap these 2 tiles. And so, while a lot of what I have going on over here isn't really doing anything for me, I do have my troll set up here, and I'm going to hopefully put in this armor thing so that it'll line up there. So that is my second selection. These are going to collapse down, and we're now going to the draft leaders phase. So, compare crowns. I have 2 crowns to the AI opponent's 1 crown. So, because I didn't exceed it by 2 or more, it's going to pluck off that first leader and discard it. So I only get the choice of these 2, which I think I said I liked that armor one, though I didn't put my 2 armors in any way that I would ever get them diagonal. That said, boots aren't exactly... I'm not really set up for that other one either. So we'll take armor with the hope that I'm going to be getting a lot of armor tiles anyway, so hopefully I'll find a good place for that. The extra leader tile gets discarded. The leader tile I took, so I took this diagonal one, that's going to go into my leader space. The one that was previously there now gets dropped into my stomach. So I want to position this in such a way that I can maximize my points of satisfaction, and I think I'm going to throw it down on this damage over here. So that's nice and lined up with my 1 armor I have here, and hopefully I can maybe get some other armors next to it and on top of it. The 2 cards that the AI took now get sorted into its class type. I discard my 2 cards to the discard pile, and we are going to start a new round. So the Village King is going to move to him, which what that changes is now he takes from the same column as my selection instead of the same row. And we reveal the next set of tiles. So what we've got here is points equal to the distance in each direction to the nearest boot. So in each of the 8 directions, I'm going to count until I find a boot, and I get a point for each space. So I want to really space the boots out away from that. Then we've got armor within 2 spaces orthogonally from this leader, which that could work well with some of the armor-related ones I've already gotten. And this one is hand tiles next to any leader tile. Not just this leader tile, but any leader tile that I have. And I don't know how well these are focusing on the camera, but you can take my word for it that that's what each of these do. They just might be a little hard to see on screen. So, round 2. And yeah, I'm going to splay this so I can kind of tell. He has 2 swordsmen, so I don't really want him to get more of those. So the worst thing I could do probably is take this peasant, because now that it's columns, he would get both of these swordsmen going from 4 to 16 points, which would be terrible. But let's see here. I want to get more of my troll patterns, and ideally get them so that I can line up the armor here. So do we have any good like boot armor setups? I guess we have this peasant here that has some boots that I could maybe prep here. And maybe follow up with one of these ones that has like multiple armor. And in fact, this one has the multiple armor with a helmet. I may be able to put it on top. Except I'm realizing a mistake, or something I'm overlooking, is that if I take this peasant, both of these are going to get taken by my opponent. So this one won't be available. That might still be my best option though. If I take this guy, then my opponent's going to take both of these. The peasant's fine. Captain it doesn't have yet, so at least it's not squaring. Unfortunately, that puts him ahead 1 crown to my 0, but maybe I can do something about that before with my next selection. So I did not take any damage from that because there's only swordsmen out and I wasn't next to them. So I'm going to get to take 2 boots and a hand. And I think I am just going to layer these guys in like so. So my vision right now is these are hopefully the start of more troll patterns, and I can just cross that armor scoring right through the middle of them. That is it for that selection, and these are going to fill. And I have one more now, and I was thinking it was going to be this peasant, because I like just plopping 2 more armor on top of that. And I'm not seeing another one that gets me any more excited than that. This is a nice one for me to keep an eye on, because it is an armor helmet, which at any time I could turn a boot, you know, finish off a pattern if I already have a boot. The other thing I want to think about is the next thing that will happen after I place my next piece is I'll have to drop this diagonal armor leader tile. And so if I want to set that up in a certain way, now is the time. And that is a good question, because I want to wind it up at least with something I have out there. I suppose I could put it here, and it would at least get that one. But assuming I'm going to get armors here, I don't want to put them on top because I want to finish those troll patterns with helmets. Yeah, it's very possible this one may end up going... I suppose I could take something like this and completely finish one and then put it on top. But I guess if I did that here, it would line up. Maybe that's the better move. It does give me 1 damage. But it also gets rid of a swordsman off the board that he can't get. I think I'm going to do that. And it gives me a crown, which I guess doesn't change anything for me. I'm for sure not going to get this first one unless I take a 2 crown. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this, take 1 damage, which probably... I could put it here, though I miss out on a little bit of a scoring opportunity. Maybe I just throw it here. I don't have anything really going on up there. Then I get to drop a helmet armor, which I believe I'm going to drop in this column. So that's going to complete another one of my troll patterns. And my thought is now I kind of like this spot as being where that armor one can go. It'll be lined up with this one down here, and then it can hit hopefully what I have some armor coming up over here. So with that, that is going to be the end of this round. These are going to collapse down. And we compare crowns. So I have 1 crown to his 1 crown. So I at least met it, which means only the first one's going to get discarded. So my choices are either armor within 2 spaces, or 2 spaces orthogonally, moving orthogonally, or hands next to any leader tile. Well, I'm not really doing much with hands right now. That doesn't look like I'm going to have much there. But the armor, I already am going pretty heavy armor with these other things. Layering that up is probably my best bet. So I'm going to take the armor tiles within 2. I'm going to bump down this, and so far I've been a little lucky because there's quite a few leader tiles that aren't used in the game when you're just playing the 2-player version. So I've managed to get a lot of armor-weighted ones, which can be helpful for overlapping. And I think I'm going to drop that one here, and the one I just took is now in my leader space. So at this point, we'll start a new captain pile for him. Peasant goes here. Mine get discarded. And we are going to a new round. So rows are the name of the game, and we've got 3 new tiles here. So let's see, we've got hands that are diagonal from this leader tile. We have helmets in the same row or column as this leader tile. And we have whatever basic tile type there's the most of in the 8 spaces around this tile. I'm going to score twice that amount. So I kind of want to surround it with all of the same type. Okay, so he is now taking from the same row as me. And I would love to kind of finish off a pattern here, and I also just really want to get armor filled in. You know, there's a nice armor one here, which wouldn't be terrible with what I'd be giving him. I don't see any that give me armor and a helmet. In fact, there's just not a lot out there that gives me armor. So this is probably a good opportunity to try to do some good stuff with the armor. So I think I am going to take this top one. And that's going to cause, because I have the Village King, he's going to take from the same row. And I didn't take any damage, I believe. And I'm going to get 2 armor pieces. And originally I was thinking that I was going to want this to go over this boot so that I could work towards another troll pattern. But I'm actually kind of liking this here. Because if I drop this here, this will slide down in line with that. And this one slides down in line with this guy, and I guess they both miss my diagonal. But I still like that they both are getting scored, and hopefully I can fill that in with a different armor. So now we're going to fill this in. These swordsmen are going to be the death of me, because I got to keep them away from the AI. So for my second card, I got to keep in mind, if I'm behind on crowns right now, if I want to be able to, I need to get at least 1 or 2 crowns if I want to have any choice besides the last one. And actually, this helmet one could be interesting for me, because if I'm planning on making a troll pattern here, dropping it right here would already have 3 helmets. So I do kind of like that. The hand one's not one I think I'm interested in. So I think I want to try to get at least 1 crown, so I'll have this option. And that definitely cuts down my options out there. This is a pretty nice piece for me, actually, in terms of the armor helmet. That could totally finish this off here. It does get hit twice, though. Swordsman there and the archer. Decide, is that worth it to me? This is the question. I think it might be. It gets rid of another swordsman too, which I'm always happy to do. I think I'm going to do it. So I'm going to take 2 damage, and this is the question, is where do I put this damage that isn't... I don't want to put it next to my other damage, because then those both are -1s. I don't want to put it here, because then that messes up my troll pattern I'm trying to do. I guess on top of this leader tile is all okay. I don't have anything that's scoring there. And then here was where I was going to drop, hopefully, this guy later. So I guess this other one I'll put here. It takes up an opportunity for an armor, but I think it's my best option. So then I'm going to be dropping an armor and 2 helmets. And I am going to turn this sideways like this, so that the armor and helmet stack right on top. Look at this beautiful troll action right here. And this guy's going to clip over here. So I'm pretty happy with that, and that is the end of the round. So we're comparing crowns. I tied him, so only the first one is going to get discarded, and I want that second one. That's going to go to my leader space. This one's going to bump down, and I did not even think about where I want to put this guy, because I guess right now this would be the best spot for it, but that's where I wanted to put this one, which I would have to buy some time. Yeah, this I guess hits 2 of them, and I could potentially get 2 or 3 more. But that's not awesome. Is it almost, I wonder if it's better. I guess this only gets 3, with potential of 2 more. Because I do also have 2 helmets this way, so it's not like I could put this above and it would still be pretty good. I think I'm going to put it here. I think I'm going to put it here and try to stall long enough that I can get that guy down there. The extra one gets discarded. And I think... I think I'm going to drop it like this. So what I'm thinking here is this hand and boot are going to drop and fill up my left side, and this helmet's going to drop here. And the reason I did that is now I have a spot here that's still left for that boot one, and I actually even put another boot next to it. So I at least did something with the card that I really was mostly taking for the crowns. So at this point, these will march onward. And we are comparing crowns. We tied, which is going to discard the first one. And I definitely want the boot one. So I'm going to bump out my other leader tile, which is going to go in, which I guess has a couple good places for it now. This place would get 3, but this would also get me 3, putting it here. Although that, I guess either of those is removing a point opportunity, because this one could get points for armor, and this one could get points for armor. So I'm not sure there's really a better or worse. I guess this one leaves me with 5 more spaces that I could make armor, where putting it here would be 5 more spaces. There may not be a whole lot of a difference here. I'm going to go with this, with my only logic being to try to fill a little more evenly, because sometimes if you fill like all of your one side first, you're kind of forced to maybe do things you don't want to do. It's not a very strong reason, but if you're wondering why I picked between 2 seemingly equivalent options, that's why. So I'm going to discard these. The leftover leader tile gets discarded. These are going to get sorted into its piles. It now has one of every type. So I have to be on my guard here in the end game to make sure I'm not giving him too many points. Because the leader tile board is exhausted, that means when we get to the draft leaders phase next time, we're not going to draft. Instead, I'm just going to drop my tile in. What this means is I don't need to worry about crowns anymore. Beating him in crowns doesn't have any effect because we're not drafting. So that makes my life a little bit easier. But I am now going to be start player, and he will be taking from rows. We've got a nice peasant row. I'd love to just give him peasants. Do I like any of those? What are my goals right now? I would love an armor here. These are now helmets are great in this whole stretch. I wonder, this might be a good spot for a troll ability. Because if I was able to go boot, armor, helmet, the armor would be lined up with the diagonal and the helmet would be in the column. And I would get the 3 points. So I guess we can at least look if there's one out there that would help with that. And I am not seeing any that have like a boot armor would be nice, like if they were stacked. That doesn't seem to be the case. This is nice, right? This is just 2 helmets. I could just put those in there to just get the 4 points for that. I would cover up the one that otherwise could be armor, but, you know, 6 half dozen the other. It's either way, it's giving me 2 points. So I think I'm going to do that. Oh, what I'm not thinking about is there's a swordsman that does damage, and there's an archer that does damage on that peasant. I don't want to put a damage up here, because that's where I want to put my leader tile. This damage isn't ideal. Oh, that is a little tricky, because I would be forced to put damage by other damage. I don't really want to do that. Okay, well then this is exactly the same scenario over here. We have these humans are so organized. They've got their swordsmen and then the archers flanking behind them. These peasants are pretty well protected. This is really the one that's probably best for me to take, because then he would only take peasants, which is great for his scoring, and I would avoid any damage. But is this good for me, is the question. I could go hand armor, and the armor would line up. I guess I could just use the armor over here to finish off this. Maybe that's my best bet. I think I'm going to take it. I think it's the right call, just in managing the score that I'm up against. And so he's going to take these ones from this row. I did not take any damage, and I'm going to take a boot, armor, and a hand. I want the armor to drop in this spot for this leader tile. So I could do this maybe? Yeah, I like that. I like that. So we're going to go armor, hand, and I like it because this boot then comes over here and actually has enough space if I wanted to do another troll ability. So I at least have that option available to me. So these are all going to walk on down. Oh, jeez. Oh boy, we may be in trouble, not just of the fact that we may take damage, but the fact that those are both the categories that our AI opponent has more of. So I'm going to have to be careful here. But for my second selection, I definitely want to keep this spot open for that leader tile. I'm looking really for... This is an interesting piece. It's got an armor helmet, which if I could flip that and put it on a boot, that would be pretty nice. And actually, I said that this was another good opportunity for a troll pattern. So here's what I'm thinking. Oh, am I going to get hammered here? It would be 2 damage. I like it, but can I afford to? I could put the 2 damage. Oh no, but I don't want to cover that. I want to do the troll ability there. Yikes, where are there many places where I don't take very much damage? Like, I guess this one doesn't take any damage from anything. But other than that, this one doesn't. If they're right next to the archers, they're fine. But pretty much everything else I see takes damage. So do I like either of those? They're both only boots and helmets. I'm not like super crazy about that. I mean, this isn't bad. I could drop the helmet in here in line and have a boot. But I would lose that, yeah, that scoring opportunity there. I'm not doing too hot with this diagonal one here. What do I have, 1? Yikes. Yikes, yikes. I definitely want to get armor over here, right? Because I have this one here, and this diagonal one's going... This spot is perfect for an armor. That's a 4-point armor right there. I don't want to miss that opportunity. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this guy to avoid damage. And that's going to get me a boot, a helmet, and a boot. What a boot it. And I'm going to drop it so that the helmet goes in first. So that's going to help me with my scoring tile here. This boot will go in, which I guess potential for a troll pattern. And this boot will go in, which is potential for a troll pattern. And it's a troll pattern that the armor right here would perfectly match up with both those leaders to get me that 4 points. So if there's one thing I should be keeping in mind for next round, it's that I really want to put an armor right there. I think that is it. We're going to fill this in, and look at this. We did a good job just giving him peasants. So we don't need to compare crowns because there's no draft to be done. I just discard, and I'm going to drop in my last leader tile, which I've been saving this spot, which still looks like the best one, because it gets me 6 currently. And this is going to go over to here. So I'm going to be looking at verticals, and it is my selection. So finishing out here, I really would love to do some troll patterns here, and the top I could fill with boots. Do I have a good way of finishing that troll pattern? This archer has that armor helmet, and actually would drop another armor right on the other one. I really like that. But I'm going to have to pay the price here, aren't I? Swordsman and an archer. And, oh boy, if I take this, he's going to get a swordsman and an archer. That bumps him up to 3 in both those categories. That's a ton of points. That may not be worth it. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Nope, we're not going to let him have all that. Instead, we're giving him nothing but peasants. Starve him over there. I think I'm going to take this guy, which is just going to give him these 2 peasants. And what I'm going to do here with 2 armor and a boot is I'm going to drop it like this. So I get that key armor there. That was the one I really want to make sure I got. And I put a boot over this boot, but then I also stack it with an armor. So if I can manage to get helmets now here, I could complete both those troll patterns. So I like that. And the fact that I only gave him these 6 points without squaring anything is huge. So we reveal, and oh my goodness, this just does not get any better for me, does it? And this is interesting. The game is going to end if I fill my stomach all the way, which is not going to happen unless I take a ton of damage. And actually, did I take any damage on that last one? I don't think I did. Actually, looks like I avoided it. But if I was to take a bunch of damage, I could potentially fill my stomach, which could be a good thing because it prevents him from getting another 2 cards next round. And honestly, there may not be a way to not take 2 damage with how many of those fighters we got out there. So I'm thinking I want helmets, man. Like this, these helmets are beautiful. I could stack those all on there. I mean, that's probably the best one for me. I would only take 1 damage from that, from this swordsman. I think that's our ticket. Because if I flip this... And actually, there's a couple ways I could do this. Because, like, even flipping it this way is going to get 2 armor on there. And it would clip the rest off the top. Which actually, since I know I'm going another round, I think I'd rather clip them off the top so that I can do better here. I think. Although if I did it... Yeah, I was going to say, is there any way I can get that boot? I guess if I did it like this... Oh, that clips off the side. Because I'm thinking if I could get this boot in the top column while also getting the helmets there, I would actually really work well with that leader over there. But I'm not sure there's a way I can do that. So instead, I'm just going to clip it all off. Oh no, wait a second. Am I crazy? This looks pretty nice. If I drop it in like this, I get a helmet there, completing both troll patterns, and that boot will fill that top spot, clipping off the top. I think that's perfect. Okay. I took a damage though, didn't I? Should probably figure that out first. I guess this is probably best. It gets rid of this opportunity, but at least keeps a troll ability alive. This is some of my best troll work I think I've ever done in this game. So let's drop in this guy, which the top helmet is going to get clipped off the top, just kind of falls out of his mouth as he's eating it. But I'm going to get a helmet here and here, completing 2 more troll patterns, and a boot up here, which lines up with my leader tile. It's a thing of beauty. And that is going to be the end of the round, which we are going to completely skip the draft leader's phase because there's nothing to draft and I have nothing to drop. So I'm just going to discard. He's going to put his peasants here, and this is presumably going to be the final round. And I am first, and I'm thinking Rose. This is the last time I'm giving him anything. But I really would love to do I think the best thing I could do is fill in a troll pattern. Because the only other things that could score, like this can't score anymore, this can't score anymore, this can't score anymore, this can't score anymore. Yeah, none of these later, they're all done. So I have this boot one and I have my troll ability, and the troll ability is worth 4. So I think that's what I want to go for. But I don't want to give him anything good. And oh my, there may be something perfect. Oh, but it would take damage. Ooh, because I'm looking at this archer and I'm thinking, man, that gives him 2 peasants and lets me drop an armor helmet perfectly on top of that. But I would take 1 damage, and I have no choice but to put it here, which completely ruins the fact that I want to make that troll pattern. So I would need to not take damage. And the only ways I'm not taking damage are probably this archer, this wizard, and that's it? That is it, I think. And those don't particularly have the pieces I need. I guess the wizard I could at least get the armor in, but then I'd be counting on my last one being able to get a helmet without taking a damage. This just got way trickier. And like I could put in the armor hand and swap, but I'd just be swapping the helmet off of one of my troll patterns onto another, so that doesn't really help me. What would I get? If I took the wizard, I'd be giving him an archer, which I don't like, but then a peasant. I guess the best thing is if I take an archer, I'd give him just these 2, but that does not help me. I could cut my losses here. Maybe this is the better move, is instead of trying to sell out for that troll pattern, maybe I just use this archer to get a boot in the top row. Because it would really give him less points. It would be a second wizard, but a peasant. I think that's the move we're going to have to make. It's a little sad, but it's still pretty good. So we're going to take this archer, take no damage from anything. He's going to take both of these 2 cards, and I'm going to get to drop a boot and a hand. And I want to just drop it hand boot, because then my boot is going to be in line with that. And normally I would get to take a second card here, but because I'm completely full, I skip my turn and the game is over. So these are going to get sorted into here. and everything else is discarded, and we are going to move to scoring. And like I said before, my goal is I need to meet or exceed the AI player's score. So we're going to flip this to the score track. I have just another monster tile for the AI, so he'll be the Griffin and I am the Troll. And we're going to score the AI first, so I know what my score to beat is. So let's see here. I've got... Let's first count up all the different squared amounts for the types. So this doesn't include peasants. Swordsman, 2 swordsmen is going to be 4 points. 2 archers is going to be 4 points. 1 captain's just 1. 2 wizards is 4. And then 1 cleric is just 1. So I did a pretty good job there. I didn't have any of them that bumped into 3 or more, which is when you start giving up a lot of big time points. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these, including the ones that we already counted, and we're going to now count them all for the sizes of the shape. So I'm just going to go through and add these all up as I go, and then add that to the total. So we've got 4, 6, 9, 11, 15, 17, 21, 25, 28, 30, 34, 38, 40, 43, 47, 50, 53, 57. Ooh, this is gonna be something. 57. So I can flip this over for 50 because I went all the way around the track, and then add 7, which is gonna be 71 points. Oh boy, this could be a close one. So let's see what I've now got over here. I do not get 2 points for ending with a village king like you would in a multiplayer game, because it's for filling your stomach up first, and obviously I was going to fill up my stomach first as I'm the only one with a stomach, or a stomach that looks like this. So let's first count my troll ability, which was going super well. What did I end up with? I have 1, 2, 3 here. I have 1 stacked on top of that for 4. And then I have 5, 6. That is pretty killer to get 6 of those. I was so close to a 7th, actually, if I would have been able to pull that off in the last round. But 6 of them is going to give me 24 points. That is a great start. Then we've got armor in the same row or column, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's going to be 12 points. Then I've got helmets in the same row or column for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's going to be 10 points. Armor diagonally, this was not our strong suit, was it? We got 1 down here, nothing, nothing, and 1 up here, so that's a measly 4 points. Armor within 2 spaces orthogonally, I think we've just got the 1, 2, 3, and then this one down here for 4. So that's only 8 points. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. It may not be in the cards here, because I've got boots for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is only going to get me 10 points. And I am going to be defeated by the AI opponent 71 to 68. Brutal. And especially brutal given that I had just filmed this and defeated him. But the world will only ever get to know and see my defeat. But there it is. That is how you play a solo game of Tasty Humans. I hope that this not only gave a very good idea of how the solo game works, but also just how it feels to play the game in general. Like when you're playing the multiplayer game, it feels very similar to this. You're working on your stomach, and while there's a little bit more interaction in terms of looking at crowns around the table and the drafts and kind of what some people are doing, it's mostly about this puzzle that you're working on. I wanted to mention that there's some other cool things that we have going with the solo plan here. So when we were first developing this game, it was clear to us that solo mode was a very big opportunity for this game, just the nature of the game itself. And so I spent a lot of time exploring what are kind of some cool things we can do to make sure the solo mode is really solid and that there's kind of different options and variants to play around with. So there's this base solo mode where you can adjust the difficulty. I played on that difficulty 4 menacing monster. You could play up to difficulty 6 where he would start with 6 cards, which obviously I would have gotten even further crushed in that case. And so you can adjust the difficulty to kind of what you find is your desired difficulty for the solo play. But then there's a few other like variant layers that you can add on top of that. So the first one is what we call the balanced diet challenge. And what that means is it's exactly like what I just played, and you have to still beat the AI opponent, but in addition to that, every single one of your leader tiles has to meet some threshold of points. So you're trying to be really well-rounded among all of your leader tiles. So for example, it might be each of your leader tiles must score at least 8 points. And so you can see here, like this one scored at least 8, this one did, but then this one did not. I think everyone did except this one, so I would have actually failed that challenge because I did not have every leader tile do that. So that one is a lot of fun and kind of a different feel of making sure you're spreading out and capitalizing on all your leaders equally, and you can play that at different levels. The other interesting challenge is for each of the monster boards in the game, we have a specific challenge for that monster. And again, it's the normal solo mode, but in addition to that, there's some extra condition you have to meet to be able to win. So for example, with the troll, in addition to winning the game, I would need at least 2 of my troll patterns to have hands on both sides of the armor. So I kind of have this, flanked cross pattern. I actually almost have one here if this had been a hand. And so if I don't have 2 of those, I automatically lose. But as long as I have 2 of them and I defeat the opponent, then I would win the troll challenge. And so we have one of those for each of the monsters in the game, and they're kind of fun little variant challenges to be trying to do. And I think that is it. If you have any questions about Tasty Humans, about what I did here, whether in the solo mode, multiplayer, or whatever you might have questions about, just leave them in the comments. If you're watching this anywhere close to when I posted it, then the Kickstarter is live. It's still going. If this looks like a game that you may enjoy, I think last time I checked, we were just creeping up on 100%. I think we were over 95% funded, and I know that we have a lot of cool stretch goals planned that would add things and make the game better for everybody. So if this looks like something you might enjoy, be sure to check it out. I'll put the link in the description, and hopefully we'll see you over at the Kickstarter, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.